y'all need to stop. Square business. Y'all really need to stop. Y'all sounding real reckless right now. Y'all talking real crazy right now. Y'all really need to stop. What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic. And today we're going to talk some football, Houston Texans football. You already know what it is. Today we're going to talk about which quarterback is possibly going to end up with the Houston Texans and which quarterback best fits the Houston Texans. We're going to break it down before we get in there. Like I've been telling y'all before, if you're liking the content, make sure you're liking the channel. Make sure you're watching all the videos. You comment all the videos, you liking all the videos, you sharing all the videos on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, any type of social media platform you use, make sure you share it on them same social media platforms. Also, follow me on social media as well. The links in the description below. Hey, we trying to get this channel up growing and growing and growing. It's about to be a beautiful day in Houston. It's about to be a beautiful time with the Houston Texans. So, hey, let's get this train moving. Let's get this channel growing and growing and growing. I really, really appreciate that. Now, like I said in the beginning, the reason why I said that is because I've been hearing what a lot of people saying, oh, because DeMeco Ryans is a former linebacker in the DC, he's going to draft a defensive player. He's going to take a Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. He's going to do this. He's going to draft a defensive player with the number 2 pick in the draft. No, he's not. He told y'all this in his press conference without actually telling y'all this. He told y'all when he was a DC with the 49ers in his first draft, he wanted to draft a linebacker. He's a former linebacker, wanted to draft a linebacker. He said with 2 linebackers on the board, they pop in this tape for a running back, and he's like, hey, yeah, we might want to go with him. I know I want a linebacker selfishly, but hey, he's going to help our team. I'm going to do in the best interest for the team. So he basically gives you the blueprint without going out there and saying, hey, we drafting a quarterback at 2. He's basically going out there and telling you that he's going to do what's in the best interest for the team. And what's the best interest for the team is getting some help offensively. We got some pieces on defense. The defense still got a long way to go. But this offense was either second to last or dead last or at 30th at best in all offensive categories. This team is deployed the offense outside Damian Pierce. You need to put points on the board, and you got to draft a quarterback. And we're not going after no Jimmy Garoppolo or no Derek Carr because that's for teams who already have pieces on. They rate all their quarterback weight, like the Jets or maybe Washington, things like that. We still got a long way to go. I think DeMeco going to straighten up the ship, but we still got a long way to go. Don't get it twisted. So we're not going to go after that. So there's no reason why we're not drafting a quarterback or 2, and we're not wasting any draft capital to get no Jordan Love and no Trey Lance. Get that out the way when you can draft guys who I feel like are better in this draft than those 2 guys right there. So now we knocked that out the way. Now we move all that silliness out the side because we're drafting a quarterback at 2. Don't get that misunderstood. We are drafting a quarterback at number 2. But which quarterback are we drafting it to? Now, a couple weeks ago, I did a video with my boys, Wink and Y. Shout out to them. Shout out to everybody in Soft Sports. And we talked about quarterbacks in the last 11 years. Quarterbacks drafted in the top 10, did they have a higher grade? And I also added in Deshaun because Deshaun was drafted by the Texans, even though he was 12th overall, he was drafted by the Texans. And all these quarterbacks we had graded in, what would you put in at the time we were talking about Bryce Young? So I want to give you the guys who I had above the 2 grades, and it's a grade from 0 to 100, like from 0 to 100. And I will admit, going off top, y'all know I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan. I'm a Texas Tech fan. I'm a Texas Tech fan. I watched every snap that Patrick Mahomes had at Texas Tech. Remember, this is them going into the draft. My personal grade on these quarterbacks who I had going to the draft, I had Patrick Mahomes ranked number 1 with a 96.5 going to the draft. I had Joe Burrow at number 2 with a 96 rating going into the draft. I had Andrew Luck as number 3 with a 95.5 going to the draft. I had Deshaun as 4 with a 95 going to the draft. And I had RG3 5th with a 94 rating going to the draft. I know people, y'all probably about RG3. Before RG3 got hurt, remember, his rookie year was amazing before he got hurt, and he just never got his career off there. I'm like I said, this is not what happened, what they did in the NFL. This is what they were before they go into the draft. And I'm going to give you my grade on Bryce and CJ. Before we get there, I want to talk about them a little bit. Now, this last year, Bryce Young threw for 3,328 yards, 32 touchdowns, 5 picks, and had a quarterback rating of 86.2, I'm sorry. And CJ Stroud threw for 3,688 yards, 41 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 88.9. I'm sorry, not quarterback rating, QBR. Because I'm sorry, it's a QBR score. Bryce Young's QBR score was at 86.2, and CJ's QBR score was at 88.9, which are both were best in college football this past year. And I bring that up because when you watch these guys on the field, it's just both of them are good in different ways and bad in different ways. Bryce Young has amazing footworks and mechanics. Like, he has amazing footwork mechanics. I'll go back to the play against Tennessee, where he scrambled. It was like a third down play. He's scrambling all the way. He jukes the edge rusher. He jukes the edge rusher, and then he stops and like strains up and gets a perfect quarter. Like, he's running. He stops on the dime, jukes the edge rusher, and then sets his feet and gets in a perfect quarterback stance and delivers a ball on the road for a completion. Like, I think it was a 15-yard completion for first down against the Tennessee Volunteers. Things like that. Those little small nuances we did in the last game against Kansas State. I know people like it's Kansas State, but Kansas State actually has a good pass rush. They got, I think, the sack leader, if I'm not mistaken, in the Zama. Or the edge rusher is probably going to be a late first, early second round pick. If not even earlier than that, mid to first round possibly. So they had some talent, they had some pass rush, had a decent defense, and he went out there and threw 5 touchdowns. It just looked amazing in that game. Bryce Young is special. Like, Bryce Young can make the throws, which is very cliche because really almost every quarterback can make all the throws. Like, if they can't make all the throws at least once or twice, they wouldn't even be playing quarterback. I think even guys who don't even play quarterback can make all the throws every once in a while. So just because he can make all the throws, I hate that. Like, can he do it consistently? Can he make NFL throws on a consistent level all the time? Like, can he do it consistently? Okay, then we talking. But because you got him on tape, he made a throw here, he made a throw there. But I'm going off on a tangent. But when I'm seeing in Bryce Young, it's something that's absolutely special. Like, his athleticism. Like, I hate to bring up the name Deshaun, but he's really Deshaun in a small package. His really biggest knock is that he's probably going to come in at 5'10", 195 pounds. I know he's reports he's trying to get up to 210, 215. I don't think he needs to get up that big because how short he is. Because how short he is. Like, he doesn't need to be. I mean, if he weighs in, if he comes in at 6 feet, if he's 200, 205, I think he's fine. It's the fact that because actually he doesn't really look he looks small, but like from a stature standpoint, he really does. I mean, he's tall and he's short in height. He's small. He looks small in height, but his weight doesn't look all that bad. I think it's the number that people, he's 185. That's what people say. Oh, he's 185. I don't think he's 185. I think he's 195. I think that's what scared people. But again, it is a concern because we haven't seen anybody on that level have that much weight. But do you think he's going to be hurt? Like, most big guys are the ones who get hurt. Like, the people who get hurt are the Cam Newtons and the Ben Roethlisbergers and the Andrew Lucks. Like, those are the guys who used to get beat up, and those guys are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and 215, 235, 240 plus. Like, those are bigger guys, and those are the guys who normally got hurt. Josh Allen always playing banged up. Those are the guys who are normally getting hurt, those big guys. Now, when you look at a guy like CJ, who has the prototypical size. CJ has the prototypical size, 6'4", 215, 220. He has everything you have. He could throw from all different type of platforms. He has the accuracy. He steps up in the pocket. I love to watch how the pocket collapse. He steps up in the teeth of the defense and delivers the ball on the rope down the field beautifully. The knock on him is not mobile enough. But he showed you what he could do in the game against Georgia. And another knock is people want to say, he has all the talent around him, which I think is bull. Because no one said this about Joe Burrow. No one batted an eye that Joe Burrow was the number 1 draft pick. If you name the top 5 receivers in the NFL, Joe Burrow had 2 of them in college. Like, his college career, and Joe Burrow only had 1 really good year. Let's not be honest. Even though I gave him a 96, he only had 1 real good year. That's the reason why That's the reason why he wasn't over Patrick Mahomes for me, because his best year, his most dominant year, which was probably one of the most dominant years I've seen in college football, was off of 1 season. And like I said, I said, if you name the top 5 receivers in the NFL, Joe Burrow had 2 of them. Joe Burrow had 2 of those receivers, and Jamar Chase and Jettis. He had 2 of those receivers in college, and no one says anything about that. Oh, but CJ is getting punished because he has Marvin Harrison this past year, and last year he had Olave and Gary Wilson. If I'm not mistaken, last year when Bryce won the Heisman, Bryce had Jameson Williams and had Mechie, right? No one's bringing that up. Now, I know he did ball this year with lesser known talent, and CJ probably one of the best receiver prospects we've seen in a long time, and Marvin Harrison Jr. But again, we've seen quarterbacks in college football that have weapons. I mean, remember AJ Brown and can't think of his name, and DJ Metcalf was on the same Mississippi State team. Their quarterback wasn't highly talked about. Andre Johnson and Santana Moss and Jeremy Shockey was on the same team. Ken Dorsey wasn't talked about. Ken Dorsey was a 6th-round pick. Like, we've seen loaded receiver rooms and loaded talent in college football before, and those quarterbacks not be thought of. CJ is not highly thought of because he has talent. CJ is highly thought of because CJ is a good quarterback. Now, the knock on CJ is he does fall asleep at the wheel. I ain't gonna sit like you go look at that first half against not Nebraska, against Notre Dame. You go look at that. There's another first I forgot, not the Northwestern game, because that was a whole weather situation. I remember it's kind of like that Cleveland Brown Texan game a couple years ago when they couldn't even throw the football. I think they only took like 10 passes a game because the wind was so bad. It was a game like that. So I don't fault the struggles, because it wasn't struggles. They just didn't put the ball in the air. I think I forgot what the other game was. Was it Iowa? Can't remember what the other game was. That he fell asleep at the wheel in the first half. You like, man, CJ, what are you doing? Like, CJ, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? But when he wakes up and snaps out of it, he completely wakes up and completely snaps out of it. And he's out here throwing dimes. He out here throwing darts. Go look again. Go look at the game against Georgia. Go look at that last game against Georgia, which is the best college football team we've seen. They're the best team in college football. And this team gave Bryce fits last year in the national championship game. Now, I know that team had a little bit more talent on them because they had the Jags took it and some other players as well. But that's why I was saying the knock about Bryce. Like, Bryce likes to get out of the pocket. And if you got edge rushers coming out of the pocket and you can also bring up pressure up the middle, like LSU was able to do in that first half, they was able to close out. That he wasn't able to make a play out the pocket, and they was able to come and bring pressure up the middle. And he wasn't able to handle that pressure because he doesn't step up in the pocket. He kind of rolls out a little bit. Not saying he can't step up in the pocket, because he can step up in the pocket. But his strength is when he moves out of the pocket. CJ's strength is when he steps up in the pocket. It's just the difference of play style. So because of that, because he doesn't step up in the pocket, part of the reason why he doesn't step up in the pocket is because of his stature. Let's be real. That's part of the reason why. It's because of his stature. I'm just being objective here. Because of his size and stature, it doesn't benefit him to step up in the pocket. It actually hurts him. That's the reason why he likes to come out. But when he has to step in the pocket, it hurts him. So when you can bring pressure up front, when you bring pressure up front, up the middle, especially in the interior offensive line, and that collapse, that gives Bryce some struggles. But Bryce is a playmaker. That's the reason why when you get him outside the pocket, he's dangerous. Go look at what he did to Texas. Go look at what he was doing to Tennessee before Tennessee ended up winning the game and able to drive and kick a field goal. Look what he did against LSU, because he brought him back in the LSU game, even though they lost in overtime. It wasn't his fault. It was most of the defense fault, just like in the Tennessee game. But watch how he played. Like, he has a lot of good. But that stature does affect him if you bring pressure up the middle, because when you bring pressure up the middle, he's not going to be able to step up in the pocket, and he's not going to be able to handle the pressure up the middle. And what I mean by pressure middle, if you're able to close out the outside, let me rephrase it. If you're able to close out the edges, he's not able to get out of the pocket, and he has to step up in the pocket, that kind of hurts him some. That's what I'm saying, because it's harder for him to step up in the pocket and deliver and make plays like that because of his stature. Because once he steps up in the pocket and the pocket starts getting closer, they're able to get to him, and he's like a guy in the phone booth. With CJ's able to step up in the pocket, take the hit. CJ's able to step up in the pocket, take the hit, and deliver a ball. Deliver a dime down the field, 40 yards down the field. Except that I've seen him, guys in his lap, and he's able to throw the football on the rope and make the play because he has perfect ball placement. He can throw for all different type of platforms, sidearm, he can do all these type of things. But like I said, the knock is that he does fall asleep behind the wheel. It is concerning. Those type of lapses in judgment makes mistakes. Look at Josh Allen. Look at Josh Allen. Look at how Josh Allen plays. Those lapses in judgment, they're falling asleep. They could put you behind. But when you watch how he did against Georgia, when the lights were the brightest, and for some people like, oh, he only did that. He's only able to do it against Georgia. I mean, you only watching the Georgia game. No. It's not just watching the Georgia game, because he's done this before. Because like I said, when he wakes up out of his falling asleep behind the wheels, he makes plays. He might throw a pick six. But then right after that, he's throwing 4 straight touchdowns, 400 yards, and they win the game. There is. Now again, he did have talent at Ohio State that actually helped him out. I'm not gotta be objective here. He did have talent and playmakers. I do think whoever team gets him, you're gonna get playmakers, especially if it's the Texans. We have multiple draft capital to go out there and get playmakers. So I'm not. You got to get any quarterback you get. I don't care what quarterback you have. You need to get playmakers. You do not need to operate, we get a quarterback and we don't need no playmakers just because he's that good of a quarterback. No, you still need to get him playmakers. You need to get any quarterbacks and playmakers. That's the reason why Tom left New England to go to Tampa, because Tampa had playmakers. Tampa had playmakers. You want to go get playmakers, whatever quarterback you have. So don't get that misconstrued. But you go watch what he did against the best defense, because they eliminated Jalen Carter. For the most part, Ohio State eliminated Jalen Carter because the way that CJ played, it made Jalen Carter non-existent in that game for the most part. And he's able to move out of the pocket. We've seen that. I think that's more so of Ryan Day's offense, not allowing CJ to move out the pocket, but CJ also said himself that he's a player. He said himself that he wants to get the ball in playmakers' hands. He wants to deliver the ball to playmakers' hands. Now, I know some people might have concerns with CJ because of the agent he has and David moved together. I have no problem with David moving together. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I know people have a bad taste in their mouth with the whole Deshaun Watson situation. David Montgomery is just a good agent, and he's gonna do what's best for his client. And he's going to do whatever his client needs him to do. So if his client wants him to get, I don't think it's David moved together driving his clients to leave. When you talk about Jalen Ramsey in Jacksonville and Deshaun here in Houston, I think those are the clients who want to leave and him just doing his job. Now, the people I do have an issue with is the people around the marketing agent, Brian Burns or Bernie. Either Burns or Bernie, I don't know how it is pronounced. And then his quarterbacks coach, I can't think of his name. Quincy Avery, who is a quarterbacks coach, but he only deals with quarterback. He's never developed a quarterback, but he's a quarterbacks coach. He's a quarterbacks coach, but he always gets his clients who are already pre-developed before he gets them. But that's a whole conversation. Those guys, I think, are more hanger-ons. I think they will get as good a job. He does his job. He's a good agent. I think these other guys are just guys who just happen to have names because they're in the elite circle. So they happen to have names and credibility because they're in the elite circle. Those guys I have an issue with, and CJ even said himself that Brian Burns was trying to get a whole bunch of stuff during the season. He's like, whoa, hey, put that to the side. Let me focus on ball, because if I don't get this ball right, none of that matters. If I ball and get this ball right, that's going to come. So put that to the side. Now, could that just be, coach speak, just something to say? Because I think it was in a podcast interview. I think it was The Pivot, if I'm not mistaken. He said either during the season or during the off season. So it wasn't a pre-draft thing. So, again, is it just lip service? Is it something that he's just saying? It could possibly be. I don't know. I'm just taking the man in his word. I'm just taking the man in his word. But that's what he says. Now, on the other hand, Bryce, Bryce is out there getting endorsements. And I'm not knocking that. Hey, go ahead and get your endorsement. He on the Dr. Pepper commercials, Heisman, and that comes. He got a little bit more juice because he has a Heisman Trophy. So of course he's going to be a little bit more marketable. Went to Alabama. They went to a national championship game. Ohio State, even though Ohio State's a big brand, they didn't make it to. They made it to the college playoffs, but didn't make the actual national championship game. But all in all, I like them both. I like them both. Like from a playing standpoint, like I say, Bryce has the arm. For people who don't think he has an arm, Bryce has the arm. They both do. They both have superb mechanics. They both have superb feet work, arm, ball placement. I think that CJ's accuracy and his throwing windows are a little bit better than Bryce. Slightly. Not much. I think he's a better pure passer than Bryce, but Bryce has way, obviously, Bryce. They both have, because I think CJ, don't get misunderstood, but CJ can move, but Bryce can move, CJ can move, but obviously Bryce uses his mobility way more. It's more part of his game than CJ's is. CJ's is more step up in the pocket, deliver the football. Bryce is escaping the pocket and making plays. If that's making plays with my legs, if that's making plays with my arm, if that's making plays with my mind. Oh, look off a safety, throw it to an open receiver, and things of that nature. Using my legs to get the corner to come bite down, the safety to bite down to get my receiver open. When CJ is more so step up in the pocket, but you see, we seen in the game against Georgia him run to the side, pointing, hey, go over here, and deliver rope. So they both have that in their repertoire. And my grade on CJ, my grade on Bryce are the exact same grade. 93. CJ's knockdown is, like I said, he falls asleep at the wheel. To be honest with you, he falls asleep at the wheel a little bit too much, more than he should. Everybody's gonna have a bad game, but he does it more than he should. So I have to give him a punishment for that. I have to knock him down some. Bryce has all the physical tools, but he does lack the size and stature. I cannot. Don't worry about the size. Don't worry about the size. I get what you're saying because I don't think it's going to affect them much, but it is a factor because I do believe if Bryce was the size of CJ. I believe if Bryce was the size of CJ, that Bryce would be the number one pick in the draft easily. Like I think he'd be a can't miss prospect. And the same thing with CJ. I think if CJ would have used his legs like how Bryce uses his legs, I think you would say the same thing about CJ. That's why I think they're both up there for me. Oh, and if he doesn't fall asleep at the wheel, obviously. If he doesn't fall asleep at the wheel, even if he didn't fall asleep at the wheel, I think people still have questions about CJ because he doesn't use his legs, because now it's a thing about quarterbacks using their legs. So, to be honest, who I think was going to belong as a Houston Texan, I think they both are. They both should belong as Houston Texans, but you only get one. And I think that's the reason why the Texans have no need to jump up to the number one pick in the draft. Stay at 2, and you get your choice of whichever one you choose. They both have a pro day. One is March, I think CJ's is March 22nd. Bryce is March 23rd. And after those, I think they will get in the lab and they will decipher which quarterback they truly want out of the two, if they have to have one of them. If it's, it has to be Bryce or it has to be CJ. For me personally, I'm good either or. It does not matter. I'm legitimately either or. And I hate to sound like I'm on the fence. I am legitimately either or with these guys. As long as it's one of these two. Don't bring me no Will Levis. Don't bring me no AR-15. Don't bring me no Hendon Hooker. It has to be CJ Stroud. It has to be CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. That's not 1A and 1B, BA, and it's none of that. They are both the exact same for me. The exact same. For different reasons, obviously. But they're both the exact same for me. They both have the same grade at 93. And if I have to do a tiebreaker because you have to take one, I think they're going to end up with Bryce Young. I think that's who they're going to end up with. Like, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell to get more videos. I holla.